What's going on, family and friends? It's Coach Jay. Welcome back to Manifestation Master. Whether you're checking out on YouTube, the .com, wherever you may be, I want to jump right into this topic. I was talking to a good friend. I'm back in Chicago right now, but when I was in LA, I met this girl who was quite attractive, young African American chick, which it's not important, but lately, the past almost decade, I've been in mostly interracial relationships. Once I moved out of the South Side and there were a lot more flavors, I started to, just talk to women of different ethnicities. But this young lady happens to be African American, and though we met in LA, she's actually from the Bay Area. She's from Oakland, but now she lives in Sacramento. So I want to jump right into this because you guys know I can be long-winded, but I freestyle on the majority of my videos. I'm not an editor, I'm not an actor, I am a storyteller. That's what I do. I share my story. And as intelligent as I am, life kind of showed me, you know what I mean, that I needed to do some deeper soul searching. So before I jump into what took place with me and Summer, her name's Summer, I was reading from this book, okay? It's called Becoming Attached. Becoming Attached. First relationships and how they shape our capacity to love. And that's important to me because love is a thing that I keep, I would say, failing at. You know what I mean? Despite dating these amazing girls from amazing families, it's not really plural that much, one in particular, but I had to do some self-reflection because on a deep level, I believe that a relationship it's a reflection. It's kind of a mirror back to you. Yeah, there's a lot of fireworks going off because it's the holiday weekend of the 4th of July. It's Friday. So that's that by Robert Karen, PhD. And I want to read the back to you really fast, okay? The struggle to understand the parent-child bond ranks as one of the great quest of the modern psychology, one that touches us deeply because it holds so many clues to how we become who we are. How are our personalities formed? How do our early struggles with our parents reappear in the way we relate to others as adults? In Becoming Attached, Robert Karen offers fresh insights into some of the most fundamental issues of emotional life. He explores such questions as what do children need to feel that the world is a positive place and that they have value? What are the risks of daycare for children under 1 year of age? And what can parents do to manage those risks? What experiences in infancy will enable a person to develop healthy relationships as an adult? Something that's very important to me. I'm like, dude, like, what's going on? And something inside of me isn't telling me it's something deeper. It's not just a surface level issue here, Jerome. And last paragraph, becoming attached is not just a voyage of discovery and child emotional development and its pertinence to adult life, but a voyage of personal discovery as well. Whoo! See, that's what this channel is about, y'all. Let me finish that. For it is impossible to read this book without reflecting on one's own life as a child, a parent, and an intimate partner in love or marriage. Oh, send chills through my bones. You understand me? Because for it is impossible to read this book without reflecting on one's life. I have done that. A parent. I'm not a parent. Though I'm 32 years of age, I am not a parent. But it helps me put myself in my mom's shoes. Though my mom was she did the best that she could. She was a kid having a kid, and she did what she knew best, which was abuse amongst many things. I'll talk about that on this channel. Parent, and most importantly for me right now, as an intimate partner. All right, and why do my relationships end? And then I go back and I analyze, and I'm like, you were pointing fingers. You were pointing fingers, Jerome. You were pointing fingers. Girl this, girl that. You should have been pointing a thumb, kid. So anyway, let's jump into this conversation. So I'm reading from this book. I won't go there, but I'm reflecting on my childhood and how, as a child, whenever my mom wanted to teach me a lesson or teach me something, she used force, discipline, and I mean physical abuse. Now, Summer We went half on a baby. She adopted a baby. His name is Jaden, and he was adopted at 6 months, and now he's about 15 months. And it's been amazing to watch him grow. I haven't been out to, she lives in Sacramento now, to see them, out to Sac to see them, but I'm on FaceTime with them very frequently. Even just seeing how fast he's growing, it's like, dude, time isn't playing, which I already know. Summer had a surgery recently, so her body's recovering and it's healing. About 4 weeks ago, today, well, as I make this video, and Jaden's on the bed with her as she's resting, and she's telling him not to do something, and he continues to do it. And she's like, Jaden, you're hurting me. Stop it, Jaden. Now, Summer's no expert at parenting, and her mother had 5 kids, including her, but her mother was no expert. But there's this aura of love, you know, and again, right, you know, y'all know I'm like, if I was anything, I call myself the love doctor, you know, because love is what truly got me on a journey to healing. I come from a narcissistic mother. My mother comes from a narcissistic parent. So to say the least, I come from a narcissistic family. That's the best way I can put it when you really look at it and kind of break it down. But if you prefer another word, if you know my story enough, go ahead and use that word. But there's just a lot of, you know what, let me use a different word. There's a lot of neuroses. There's a lot of psychoticness. There's a lot of selfishness, a lot of weird stuff going on. And it's you see what, it's Friday, right? 4th of July weekend. You know how many parties they're going, parties, gatherings, festivities, blowing up fireworks, driving out downtown. I'm in the house making videos for you, reading. And when I'm done with this, I'm gonna go study marketing because I want to get my content out to the world, and you have to learn it, right? But amongst my business stuff, I have to work on my personal stuff because I really believe in this. So anyway, I'm observing Summer, I call her Sum, you know, and she's being just so gentle with him. And she's like, he's just being so, she called it, she said, bad. You know, it's like she said, he loves to do what I ask him not to do. She said, most babies will kind of catch on, but Jaden is a tough cookie. Again, Jaden wasn't adopted until he was 6. So from the age, when Jaden's mother gave birth to him at the hospital, she bailed out. I guess once she was able to, you know, they cleaned her up or etc., she bailed out and left him at the hospital. And he was abandoned by his birth mother. And from that point, he was in child services until 6 months. And it's an interesting place to be because a lot of these caregivers in child services don't want to get attached to the baby. Well, what does a baby want? Attachment. What's the name of this book? Becoming Attached. So for the first 6 months of Jaden's life, there was no real attachment because the caregivers wouldn't get attached because at some point he's going to go to another family. Boom. So I thought that was interesting, just observing her. And she's in pain. She said, that hurt. You know, I'll just be honest, guys. Some on mine. She had a big butt already. You know what I mean? Like, I saw her face. She was pretty, but she had a nice body as well. And I'm like, girl, you want a BBL, right? So she flew out from California to Miami to get her Brazilian butt lift and, you know, take the fat out of the stomach and woo. So she had 7 incisions, okay? To say the least, she can't even sit down, and it's been 4 weeks. She still cannot sit on her butt for very long. And when she does, she's extremely uncomfortable. So Jaden noticed, like, there's something going on back there, right? And he wants to know, he wants to explore. Whatever he's exploring, he likes it. And it's sending excruciating pains through her body. I said, Sum, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is the pain? She said, a 10. I said, wow. She said a 10. So even if she was being dramatic, a 7 or 8 is still pretty high on a scale of 1 to 10. And I'm just observing how gentle she's being. And I think of my childhood. I could tell you right now, if my mama told me not to do something at the age of 15 months, 1 year and 3 months old, and I continued not to listen, that lady probably would have pushed me off the bed head first. Okay? And if she didn't push me off the bed, she would have smacked me somewhere extremely hard. Right? But what does that do for a child's development long-term, identity long-term, right? And even if she didn't yell, right? If some would have just, if she didn't hit him, let's say she just yelled, Jaden, didn't I tell you not to? Even that will put fear into a child. Like, whoa. She remained gentle and calm. Okay, I want to throw in another one, and I'm gonna wrap it up here real quick. I possibly make a part 2 or part 3. Um, my mother told me, I want to tell you a couple stories from my childhood when I was young. And when does a child start walking? I'm not sure, guys. I think Summer said that her daughter was already her daughter's 9 now, or um, she said that Jalea was already walking by 2 years old. So I had to be relatively young, guys, and I'm a pretty fast learner. I was still crawling. I'll give you 3 stories. First one, my aunt told me this story. She said that she almost got into a fight with my mom because I was crawling on the floor, like a baby does, right? And I tried to play with sockets. If you've ever been to any kind of baby store, they have these things called wall sockets. Wow. How does a company make millions of dollars or billions of dollars off of wall sockets? Because generally speaking, a crawling, exploring, learning baby's gonna reach for sockets. My aunt that I lived with, this is a different aunt, she had a home daycare for her business. What do you think was in every socket? A wall socket, right? Well, my aunt, my oldest aunt now, was telling me this story about my mother, about them almost getting into a fight. I'm crawling on the floor. My mom sees me try to play with a socket, right? I'm probably not talking. I'm just crawling again. She says my mother goes to the window. I don't know what it's called. I had looked it up a while ago so I could remember, but I forget. The thing that you spin on the blinds to open and close the shades on the blinds, right? She unhooked it and she was coming to beat me with it to tell me to stop. Wow. I know that I was taught fear, right? When I'm just being a baby crawling around and oh my gosh, this new land, this new place, what is this? Oh my gosh, what is this on this wall? And I reach for it. And then instead of my mom, I mean, if you had wall sockets in the wall, just let the baby be, whatever. You can tell him no, but let him be. He can't hurt himself. You go and get a stick, a plastic stick. And if my aunt wasn't there, you would have beat me. And I'm pretty sure there's hundreds or thousands of other times my aunt wasn't there and I was beat. Now this makes you scared to explore. And I'm noticing this in my life. I'm like, Jerome, you notice many times that you think don't fail faster than you think excel? Blows my mind. I mean, it really doesn't, but this is why I'm going back and I'm unraveling this. And listen to me, this isn't just exclusive to my mom. It's not like my mom is the only loony one that came out. I still love you, mama, very dearly, and I'm gonna be rich, and anything you need, I got you. But I gotta love you from where I am, and I know you loving me from where you are. But your first instinct is to beat the kid. Now again, here we go back to psychology a little bit. My mother was always beat. From the time she could remember to the time she left her daddy house in her late teens. My grandfather was, and her stepmother, beating. My father, beat her. That's all she knew was whoop tail. I really want to say, I'm going to say it, whoop ass. Another example, right? She says, oh, let's go back to Jaden. Jaden's finally starting to want to get out of the bed, right? Because Shanice, she wants to see his growth. She wants to see him develop. She wants to see him walking. She wants to see her baby mature, right? Some people would say mature, tomato, whatever. So she's watching him and she's like, he's always at the edge of the bed. He's always at the edge of the bed. Yesterday, she said Jaden finally figured out how to spin around and slide off the bed and get on the floor and crawl. Well, guess what? My mother told me a story and it's crazy how she tells me I feel like if I was my mother, these would be my skeletons in the closet. She just tells them but again, listen guys, I do my studies. So I'm not about to sit here and play with y'all about this word called narcissism. Do your research, do your homework. I got hundreds of hours in the game. Because I reached a point in my life where it's just like, dude, what the hell happened to me? I know, until I was in my late 20s, 28, 29 years old, I did not know what a narcissist was. I just knew that I used to get my ass whooped. And after the butt whooping, the psychological warfare was, I would rather take 10 of those butt whoopings, as extreme as they were, than dealing with the psychological aftermath, the warfare, being treated like a slave in my own home. You know, obviously it was my mother's rented home or whatnot, but that's my house too. You gave birth to me, this is where I call home. And she said that I used to always want to get out of my crib. At some point, I think that's what a child would want to do. She said, "I'll beat the shit out of you. You never tried to get out of that crib again." Thanks, Mama. Thanks for doing that, and thanks for telling me the story as if you was feeding me chocolate for the first time, and my light, my eyes just lit up. Right? Last story, my life, and this is about, you know what? That's what I'll wrap it up with. Talking about that last story. My mom goes, "You was such a guy." During COVID, I ended up moving back in with my mom, me and my little sister. I was like, oh my God, the good thing about COVID is we're finally gonna be a family. No, my mother's boyfriend had dumped her. COVID had took off in March of 2020, and my mother had no supply. As a narcissist, she had no supply. So it's like, oh my God, my children are out in the world and we should all get back together and be a family. And I was like, yay! And my aunt was like, she got your ass. But anyway, she says, so this is when I start getting a lot of stories from my childhood, because it's like we're bonding, but my mother doesn't know how to bond. God bless her heart. You can't give what you don't have, right? Somebody could ask me for $1 and I tell them I don't have it, and they can be as furious as fury. But if I don't have it, I don't have it. I know it's just $1, but I don't have it. My mother doesn't have that capacity to love. She doesn't know how to. Right? And that's a whole nother topic about her childhood. And that's what gives me the ability to have compassion and love and mercy. You know, not so much mercy. I think mercy is for the stars, if you will, the universe, source, spirit. But compassion, love, understanding. So let me tell you this last story, and then we'll get into where you taught fear. Was it instilled into you deeply? And understand, this is a child. This child can't even talk. He can barely hold his food on his own. She says, "You was such a good baby." Me being me at 30 years old, I'm like, oh yeah, mama, tell me about it. How was I a good baby? Say, "You was such a good baby. You would just wake up at 4, 5 in the morning and sing." I'm like, dang, that is a pretty cool baby, right, mama? You know what I'm saying? Most babies wake up and get the, ah, ah. Then you go get them, give them a bottle, ah, ah. You change their pamper, wah, wah. Man, what do we want? I'm holding them, I'm rocking them, I'm rock-a-bye, wah, wah. Jerome as a baby, Coach J as a baby. La 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 loo la 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 la. She said, I was sleepy, so I said, lay down. Damn. She said, and you would drop and you wouldn't make a sound. That's what made me a good baby, huh, mama? Feeling fear, instilling fear, being scared to make a fucking move even as an adult now. But I'm working, y'all. Y'all see that? I'm not reading the whole thing. I got a lot of things I got to work on. Plus, I have to work on a daily basis. But that's the game until you break through, right? That's what my mentor always say, quit your job. But I forgive her and I love her. And now I have to forgive myself, because as an adult, now it makes sense why I was so scared to get attached to women. Great women. Not no Shaquitas. No disrespect to the Shaquitas, but you know what I'm saying? A good woman. Really good woman that comes from good families, because that's usually where it starts. So now, what does that do to a child's psyche? Every time this child gets punished for just being a child, doesn't that make him be scared to make a move? Y'all wonder why my YouTube channel ain't already busting, because I seek perfectionism, right? It's a trauma response, because if I wasn't perfect for my mom, it was a problem. And even when I was perfect, it was like, that's what I expect of you. Have mercy, right? So if I get a 95%, you yell at me. You gotta woo, 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 woo. I get a 99 or 100%, that's what I expect of you. You celebrate my failures. And most of my failures were failures to your standards. Other people would have been like, oh my God, you're doing awesome. You know, I'm happy when David just gets straight C's. You got A's and B's. It begins to teach you deep down that I believe it makes you too immobilized, as if you're gonna die or something for taking action. Start the new business, approach the woman, ask for the date. It's deep, y'all. And I'm coming, man. I'm coming. I don't plan on partying at all this summer. I'm quitting this is my last contract on the golf course. You guys probably don't know, but this Monday I was out with Jerry Azuma, a Hall of Famer from the Chicago Bears. He played cornerback, and this is like in the Brian Urlacher era, you know? And we hung out on the golf course. We kicked it, you know what I mean? Had a great time. You know, I made like $500. It was a celebrity guest outing and good time. You know, but why did I bring up Jerry? Despite me having a nice job, right? I'm hanging out with a celebrity, make, you know, $500, you know, a couple hours. Well, it was more. It was actually a pretty long day, but $80 an hour, I don't want it. It's not my passion anymore. Carrying golf bags and reading greens and hanging out in the sun. My passion is sharing my story because I'm about to dissect this. My life is like a research, a science research for me right now. Because I don't want to forever keep self-sabotaging, right? And then me, on the other hand, even when I do get the courage to step out and do it, and then I get the result that I want, excuse me, I sabotage it because I don't feel deserving enough. How can you feel deserving when your whole life somebody just beat you? Celebrate your failures, your victories. Good, that's what I expect of you. So look, y'all, that's what Manifestation Master is about, and every other brand that I've built that I stand behind. Like my podcast that I do with my coach, Dr. Velvet Loves, Happily Unorthodox. It's about going back in time, if you will, and healing from your past so that you truly can manifest. Because guys, I've manifested wonderful things. I just told you I was out with Jerry Azuma, you know, and even beyond that, making a bunch of money on a golf course, hanging out with millionaires. You know, I walked out of work the other day. It was like 2 McLarens, a Ferrari, and a Ghost. I'm like, wow, that's like over $1 million in cars just within this little square right here. So why aren't I at the next level yet? I don't believe that I feel deserving. I believe that deep down in the recesses of my subconscious mind is a belief that I'm not enough at 32 years old. I think that's old to still not have unraveled that. But again, I'm loving and I'm compassionate with myself because I just became aware of this a couple years ago. So look, this is what this is about, healing, all right? ManifestationMaster.com is under construction by me. Yeah, I got me a nice little page builder, funnel builder, whatever you want to call it. And I'm really taking pride in learning new skills. I'm working a lot right now, but I still want to create content. So listen, do me a favor, drop a comment below. Can you relate to this? Do you feel this on any level? If you know someone who might relate to this, share this video with them. You know, if you're on a platform where you can tag them in this video, all right? And if you feel it, if you like it, do just that, like it, subscribe. Much love, y'all. And I do love y'all for real. Like, I have a homie right now who's crushing it in stocks despite the market. And before this, he was doing well, you know, and he wants me to come learn it because he knows how smart I am. And he's like, bro, it's a good opportunity, but that's not my passion. I don't want to be the guy making all this money and he's not happy. I've been that guy. I want to help people. I want to share my story. Because me dissecting my story and then sharing it with you will hopefully help you dissect your story and move forward in your life. My ex would always tell me, Jerome, you deserve happiness. Life is short. You deserve to be happy. But deep down in the recesses of my subconscious mind, I didn't believe it. And the only way to change what's going on deep down inside is through repetition, repetition, repetition. That's why I'm not out partying this holiday weekend. I'm working. And it's going to be that way for a minute. Much love, y'all. See you on the next one.